over the law of the gathering, relating to gatherings. We got in touch with those folks, and they called those gates over there near Baton Rouge, and they let those buses go in, and they went to Waveland and stayed there for 2 months and did this relief kitchen. And since then, there have been relief kitchens at the fires in Washington, at the floods in Missouri, at Sandy, and there's some pictures up here. Oh, that's me talking to the first rainbow. But there's pictures, and our beloved brother Barry, I want to do a show in Missoula. There are, there has been an effort for many of the young people's gathering kitchens to do public service by showing up where there's disaster, because we know how to do it, not necessarily with electricity or with this or with that, and how to receive people that just found out they went back to their house after the evacuation and it was gone or destroyed or up to the second floor in sand, like those ones at Sandy on the coast of Union City in the coast of Jersey. And people would come in and just shell-shocked. And we had, there was the drink and the convenience counter, and then there was what else do you need, and then the object, of course, to get the person being part of the rescue effort instead of part of the refugee. And how quickly can a group turn those around and make the lost and bereft a part of the solution. So, for instance, after the earthquake in Haiti, a group went over there, and we got refrigerator trucks of food, literally refrigerator containers that landed at Port-au-Prince, and that set up the earthquake in Haiti 6 years ago. It's still there, providing meals and so forth. And there's a scene that just set up a month ago or so at Panama City in Florida. I think that in terms of what the rainbow gathering can tumble into the next generation, there's nothing better than these kind of very basic humanitarian relief efforts. And there's a group now called United Peace Relief. I put that up on here, which is just formed, and it's a unity with a number of the other groups that have been helping to fund this United Peace effort, because we've got the people who will cook the food and care for the bereft, but there's equipment and tools, and this is a great thing to have happened out of the gatherings, that there's kitchens that can go to these places and feed people that are just, whose lives are in chaos. Next question, Reggie.
Okay, I gotta tell you guys this, okay. What Garrick was telling right now about Katrina, right after Katrina, setting it up over there. Well, big body from the fair, the Vaudevillians, Moe's, and all his crews, right? Those folks, right? Went with the kitchens and set the whole thing up. Okay. There's a group. They're called the Subdued. Okay. They're a Cajun group. Okay. From the audience. Okay. That literally wrote a song as a tribute to all these kitchens. Okay. The title of the song is called Dookie and the Mud People. Do y'all remember the Mud People in the fair? Okay, that's where they got their start. Okay, they were part of it. And the album is called Behind the Levees. Okay. Please listen to that whole album. I mean, it's like talk about a tribute to what exactly what Garrick's talking about.
There's lots of parts and pieces. Everybody here is holding at least a thread. You have a question, and then I want to get to some signing. I want to, did Sihu show up? Is Sihu in the house? Oh my goodness. Oh, you're doubling up on me. That's too good. That's fantastic. Excellent. Anyway, I know people want to chat and sit with each other. Please buy the book, but if this is really going to be a runaway underground bestseller, you got to get it into the hands of the 16 to the 36-year-olds. Okay? So, sure, buy the book. Let me write something beautiful and cute and somewhat profound in the front of it for you. And please show it to your nieces and your nephews, because I love all of you, and I love telling you the stories and being part of it and hearing the stories from you, because we are a community that is never really going to end. But I think the more we can involve the youngsters, the better it is. Question?
So I just want to say where FEMA failed, ARIMA worked it out for us. That's the one thing for sure. But so I heard a rumor
Yes.
that you were inducted into the High Times Cannabis Hall of Fame. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. Okay, very briefly.
Very briefly.
The original Cannabis Cup, and I mean, look, we're winning the war on cannabis, and I would like, for the record, winning the war on cannabis. And it really, in great part, there really is a question about freedom of mind. And I think that's a very important freedom. Thomas Jefferson wrote about it and did not put it in the Declaration, Constitution, but freedom of mind was something Jefferson wrote about. And I think it applies very much today in terms of these things. I would like the bumper sticker that says, mushrooms are next. So there we go. So the original Cannabis Cup in the 1980s was a bunch of folks in Amsterdam who were getting together in a hotel and arguing over who had the best pot. And High Times Corporation did an article on it, and then they decided that they could run this thing and make an expo for hemp products, hemp paper, hemp textiles, hemp oils, CBDs, all these other things, and at the same time have a competition for pot that would be a little more organized and a real competition. And they found out, of course, that the money behind this was in the seeds, that people would travel to go get the seeds. So they hired me, who had done Concert for the Forest and worked with the fair and done living theater stuff. They hired, and rainbow stuff, and several other protest actions with cavalcade type stages with show after show coming up. They hired me to go over to Amsterdam with a whole bunch of other rainbows and associated friends and turn this into a 4-day festival with an opening night show and a closing rewards show and a speaker who would add some gravitas and talk about the real values of freedom of mind or something equivalent, as opposed to just, party on. And I did that. And we had a stage show with musical, boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets high, girl gets high, and everybody gets together. And so we did that. And then the Cannabis Cup took off and became internationally famous, and they made zillions of dollars on it, and they sold tickets, 2,000 tickets at $400 or $600 each, and they filmed all this, they filmed it, and a great scene. And we did it. We really helped make that happen. And the choir director for our show is sitting here in the audience, our choir director. That's it. We had a cannabis chorus. But then what happened, there was like what they found was having 90 things to judge. The best organic, the best this, the best that, the best outdoor, the best indoor, the best, it was so too complicated. So they had 90 things to judge later, but they had a smaller group of judges judge for the best new strains, because that's what the seed growers were really interested in. So what happened was, one year, a couple of people who were the judges for the best new strains, which was only 7 judges, they got scammed somehow. Somebody paid one of them off with, I don't know what it was Wine, Woman, or Song. It was one of those. Wine, Men, or Song. It was Amsterdam. And so they wanted this impeccable crew. And this story hasn't really got out there, and whether it's true or not, I don't really I don't know the details, but I know that they got Stephen Gaskin and Ina May and me and Plunker and Alex Gray and Allison Gray and said, you guys are just freaking too cool to get wooed by the normal briberies, so you come be the judges. So they sequestered us in a room for 4 days, and we sat there and philosophized. We decided we were going to smoke 1 strain an hour, because if 3 tokes didn't do it. And then we developed a 12-point grading program. Oh my God. And I'm not going to give you the 12-point grading program. That'll be at the next reading, but I will tell you what the first thing was: the smell and the flavor. And the second thing was, is it harsh on your throat? You got all these scientists, and kids are going to start smoking before they're even legal age or whatever. Kids, teenagers are going to start smoking. And why should somebody smoke something that is harsh on the throat? So that was a downgrade. And I thought that kind of thing, there's 10 other criteria, but it doesn't matter. Everybody, you've got your own criteria. But that we went there, and we did that. And for that show, I wasn't organizing it, because it was already organized. Yeah. But they gave me and Barry a Freedom for Cannabis Cup. And I'll tell you one thing, I did do a little talk there, and I'm going to summarize very quickly. I talked about the red leb. I asked everybody who smoked the red leb to put up their hands, and then I asked everybody who smoked the blonde leb to put up their hands, and people were cheering, and I talked a little about how the Ronald Reagan destruction of the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon with Ariel Paraquat and cutting everything down and uprooting all those families was turning something that was bringing people around the world and making them enemies. And they were removing the peace pipe. And I said, we got to get that peace pipe back so that people can be chilling instead of killing. There you go. There you go. All true. Let's get some signing up here if anybody's got books. Hold on. Lois. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so.
Okay, you got us both.
You were the other.
Susan Applegate.
You were part of this history. The most important thing. You're two of the most